In Hollywood, success isn't just about talent. It's about who you know. And if that someone happens to be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, your career doesn't just grow, it explodes. From Kevin Hart to Gal Gadot, Jason Statham to Roman Reigns, today we're breaking down how a single friendship with The Rock has launched careers to the stratosphere and created some of the most profitable collaborations in modern cinema. If you want the most dramatic before and after in The Rock friendship portfolio, look no further than Kevin Hart. Before 2016, Hart was a successful stand-up comedian who had made the transition to film with moderate box office results. Then came Central Intelligence, and everything changed. Let's talk numbers because they don't lie. Before teaming up with The Rock, Hart's solo comedy films typically topped out around $100 million worldwide. His comedies were hits domestically but struggled to translate internationally. Central Intelligence opened with a solid $34.5 million weekend and went on to gross $217 million globally against a $50 million budget. And that was just the beginning. When Hart and Johnson reunited for Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, the results were astronomical. The film crushed expectations, earning nearly $1 billion worldwide. Their next collaboration, Jumanji: The Next Level, added another $800 million to their shared box office legacy. All told, the 4 films Hart and Johnson have made together have generated approximately $2.7 billion in global ticket sales. That's not just success, that's empire building. But the transformation wasn't just at the box office. Look at Hart's net worth before and after The Rock entered his orbit. In 2015, before Central Intelligence, Hart was worth approximately $45 million. His 2015 to 2016 What Now comedy tour earned him an impressive $70 million. Not bad for a comedian who started out performing in shoe stores. Fast forward to today, and Hart's net worth has skyrocketed to $450 million. That's a 900% increase since connecting with Johnson. His asking price per film jumped from around $2 to $3 million to $20 million. Sure, Hart was already on an upward trajectory, but the rocket booster that sent him into the financial stratosphere, that launched when he stood next to The Rock. What makes the Rock-Hart dynamic so fascinating is how their physical differences, Johnson standing at 6 feet 5 inches and Hart at 5 feet 4 inches, created an instant visual comedy that audiences couldn't get enough of. Their chemistry was so undeniable that Johnson, who typically avoids sequels unless they're part of the Fast franchise, quickly signed on for multiple Jumanji films and other projects with Hart. Today, Hart isn't just a comedian, he's a global brand with a production company, a tequila brand, Gran Coramino, and major endorsement deals. While Kevin Hart's rise to comedy superstardom with The Rock's help is impressive, not every friendship with Johnson is about finding laughs. Sometimes it's about finding new levels of box office dominance. Just ask Jason Statham, who transformed from mid-budget action star to global franchise headliner after crossing paths with The Rock. Before meeting The Rock, Statham already had a solid career as an action star with the Transporter and Crank franchises, but these were mid-budget films with devoted but limited audiences. His career was in a comfortable groove, but not exactly setting the world on fire. Let's look at the numbers. Before joining forces with Johnson in the Fast and Furious franchise, Statham's solo vehicles rarely crossed the $200 million mark globally. The Transporter 3 made $109 million worldwide, while Crank High Voltage topped out at just $34 million. Not bad for an action star, but nowhere near A-list territory. Then came Fast 5, where Johnson joined the franchise as Luke Hobbs. By Fast and Furious 7, Statham had also joined the family as Deckard Shaw. Initially introduced as antagonists, their on-screen chemistry was undeniable. Their fight scene in the 7th installment became so iconic that fans demanded more. The bromantic tension between their characters was electric, leading to an unprecedented move, spinning off the two characters into their own film. The result? Hobbs and Shaw grossed over $750 million worldwide in 2019. Let that sink in. Statham went from starring in 34 million grossing Crank sequels to headlining a $750 million global blockbuster alongside The Rock. That's not just a step up, it's an elevator to the penthouse. What's fascinating about this relationship is how it transcended the screen. Hobbs and Shaw set a box office record for being the #1 movie in the world for 4 consecutive weeks in 2019, even surpassing the 3-week record held by Avengers Endgame. That's the kind of industry clout that changes how studios view an actor. Following his partnership with Johnson, Statham secured the lead role in The Meg, which grossed over $530 million worldwide, representing one of his biggest non-Fast and Furious hits. Jason Statham's elevation from B-movie brawler to blockbuster box office force is certainly remarkable. But when it comes to financial transformation, nobody's bank account felt the Rock effect quite like Gal Gadot, whose paychecks grew by thousands of % after reconnecting with her former Fast and Furious co-star. Gal Gadot's story with The Rock begins before either was a household name. When Gadot joined the Fast and Furious franchise for its 4th installment in 2009, she was a relatively unknown Israeli actress and model with minimal acting experience. Johnson wouldn't join until the 5th film, but their paths would ultimately converge in a career-defining way. Before becoming Wonder Woman, Gadot's biggest claim to fame was her role as Giselle in the Fast franchise, appearing alongside Johnson in Fast and Furious 6 and briefly in Furious 7. While this role put her on Hollywood's radar, her compensation reflected her newcomer status. For her breakout role as Wonder Woman, Gadot reportedly earned just $300,000, a figure that seems almost laughably small considering the film's massive success. But here's where the Rock effect takes hold. Years after their initial collaboration, Johnson and Gadot reunited for Netflix's Red Notice in 2021. By this point, Gadot had achieved global fame as Wonder Woman, but their professional relationship continued. Johnson was not just a co-star, but also a producer on Red Notice through his $7 Productions company. According to industry reports, Gadot earned approximately $20 million for her role in Red Notice, a staggering 6,566% increase from her Wonder Woman salary. This massive payday placed her among the highest-paid actresses in Hollywood, and importantly, she earned equal pay to her male co-stars Johnson and Ryan Reynolds. The salary progression tells the story, from $300,000 for Wonder Woman to $20 million for a Netflix film produced by her former Fast and Furious co-star. That's not just a pay raise, it's a complete financial transformation. While Gadot's talent and Wonder Woman's success certainly positioned her for bigger paydays, Johnson's role in bringing her into his Netflix project at equal pay cannot be overstated. Today, Gadot isn't just Wonder Woman. She's a producer with her own production company, Pilot Wave, developing projects with major studios and consistently commanding 8-figure paydays. But while Gadot's meteoric rise from $300,000 Wonder Woman to $20 million streaming star is impressive, it's nothing compared to the kickstart Roman Reigns received to his acting career, a journey from wrestling ring to Hollywood that began with one phone call from his superstar cousin. Roman Reigns' case is perhaps the most direct example of The Rock's influence, operating on both professional and personal levels. As Johnson's real-life cousin within the famed Anoa'i wrestling family, Roman, born Leati Joseph Joe Anoa'i, had a built-in connection to The Rock that most actors would kill for. Before his Hollywood debut, Reigns was already a major star in WWE, following in his cousin's footsteps. By 2019, he was earning approximately $5 million annually from WWE, making him one of the highest-paid wrestlers in the company. With a net worth estimated at $12 to $20 million, Reigns had already achieved significant success in his wrestling career. The career expansion began when Johnson secured Roman a role in the 2019 Fast and Furious spin-off Hobbs and Shaw. This wasn't just nepotism, it was calculated career development. Johnson specifically cast Reigns as his on-screen brother, leveraging their real-life family connection to create authentic chemistry on screen. What makes this case particularly meaningful is the timing. When filming began, Reigns had recently returned to WWE after battling leukemia. Johnson mentioned this publicly, saying, "I'm very proud of him. I love the guy. He's my family, my cousin. And when you see him in this movie, he's amazing." This kind of public support from one of Hollywood's biggest stars provided Reigns with invaluable industry credibility during a challenging personal time. The film allowed Reigns to showcase his physical presence and charisma in a new context. According to director David Leitch, they intentionally incorporated elements of Reigns' wrestling persona into his fight scenes, including his signature Samoan drop and spear moves, creating a smooth transition from wrestling performance to film action. While Reigns' acting career is still developing, the foundation Johnson has built for him is rock solid. The transition from wrestling to Hollywood is notoriously difficult, with many WWE stars failing to make the leap successfully. By bringing Reigns into a major franchise film as his first role, Johnson provided an opportunity that bypassed years of struggling through minor roles that plague most wrestlers attempting to enter Hollywood. When The Rock chooses to work with you, the world pays attention. His films have grossed over $12.5 billion worldwide. Between 2018 and 2020, he was consistently ranked as either the highest or second highest paid actor in Hollywood. Simply standing next to Johnson in a film poster guarantees exposure to audiences who might never have discovered you otherwise. The data speaks for itself. Kevin Hart's net worth jumped from $45 million to $450 million after partnering with Johnson. Jason Statham went from $100 million movies to $750 million blockbusters. Gal Gadot's salary increased from $300,000 to $20 million after reconnecting with Johnson on a major project. And Roman Reigns expanded from WWE stardom to Hollywood visibility under his cousin's guidance. The true measure of Johnson's influence isn't just his own achievements, it's the careers he's transformed along the way. From comedians to action stars, models to wrestlers, his impact extends far beyond his own impressive filmography. That's not just stardom, that's legacy.